Yo, yo, yo. What's good to everyone listening? I want to welcome you to the Compound Interest Podcast. I got myself, Devesh, joined by my boys, the Barber Juvenalia John. What's good, John? How's everything?
Was good.
What's good? And we got my boy, the 9 to 5 Cyber Tech, one and only crypto, Harshal. How's everything, Harshal?
Course, chilling, bro. Great day today.
I love to hear it, man. Well, I just want to introduce ourselves to everyone listening. Our podcast was designed to really bring creative opinions and thoughts to these topics that are just all over the marketplace, right? We hear it on the news, we hear it on Twitter, social media, whatever it is. And with our podcast, we want to sort of create a unique twist and bring some experiences and some new vibes to the place. So this week, we're going to talk about alternative investing. We're going to break it down with trading cards, followed by some NFT conversation, and mostly just talking about how the alternative investing can yield greater returns than some other marketplaces that most people are familiar with and fond of. Speaking of trading cards, Arshel, I think you just sold your first sports wax. Is that true?
Yeah. I bought my first, sports card investment. I think about maybe in 4 months ago, maybe early January, late February, and I sold it today. So I held it for about 4 months or so, and I sold it for a loss. It was NBA hoops. We all know what hoops is by now. It looked like a pretty hyped up collection that they had going on. They had Zion, they had Ja. It definitely looked better than the 2021 collection that came out with basically I only knew LaMelo from there. I don't know if you guys knew any other rookies from that draft, but I basically only knew LaMelo, so I guess that was like the one Hunt rookie card, and I didn't really see like too much, I guess, interest in that, but it looks like that's actually going for a better price than the ones I got right now. I still have like 2 boxes left that I need to ship out, but yeah, I got rid of them. I think I lost about 15% on that, but I also bought NFL Prism. Shout out to Devesh for that one. He hooked the boy up. He told me to buy. I listened to him. Let's just say we're up on that. I gotta count up how much I'm up on that, but I want to say, yeah, at least did it do 1x? I'm pretty sure it did, right?
Definitely did 1x on that one.
Yeah, at least it did 1x, right? So,
but let me ask you, so with that loss that you took,
right.
do you still think trading cards is a good investment? Are you still going to do it? How do you feel about it?
It's an addiction at the end of the day, Like, I remember, I FaceTimed you, after, deciding to sell them, right? And I was like, yo, let's just open one, right?
Yeah.
And one pack turned into 2.
Yeah, it
Two
turned into 10,
10.
yeah.
And before you know it, I had, a Zion and Ja, right? But those are
Yeah.
worth, something. But, at the end of the day, I broke even on all those, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was pretty fun, opening them up. Obviously, if we were in person together, it would have been pretty lit, but, we made the best of it. And before opening up those, I was big into Pokemon. I got those 2 Mewtwo's. The first 2 insane cards I had were PSA 10s, so I guess I just used up all my luck from there. I don't think you've actually sent anything to PSA, right? Just because of the crazy delays that are going on. And I know even Jonathan, right? He has a few cards that are actually in slabs, more than us actually. They're some older ones, but you want to touch upon that, bro?
Yeah, so this year I've kind of just been doing the whole trading card thing, the whole hype thing right now, just because everybody is on it, and I genuinely do love basketball and stuff. So as of recently, though, I've been going to a lot of these sports card events and networking. So there you can find pretty much some booty cards all the way up to these Luka Doncic, old LeBron James cards. It's the whole 9 yards. But it's pretty cool to see, because you see everybody from different backgrounds. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think is the craziest card that you saw in person, at one of these shows? For me, my craziest card was one of those Pokemon cards that I got graded.
Yeah.
And they were worth what, 500-ish, maybe 6. And
Yeah.
I know you probably saw something crazier. At least at one of those conventions, I assume people are selling top of the line cards. Sure, there's gonna be people selling like a few like duds here that they want to get rid of. But like, what's the craziest one you saw?
I think the craziest thing I seen was the Shy Galus card.
Like a
It was
rookie card?
Tiger. Yeah, his rookie card. It was Tiger camoed. I think comps on those was up to like
Word.
26,000 or some crazy. Yeah,
26,000 for that
yeah,
card.
yeah. It was a PSA 10. The dude that I talked to, he said he flew all the way to Miami just to get
Uh-huh.
it.
Wow.
Did he get it?
Yeah.
Is it signed or anything? Or
Nah, it's just literally Tiger Camo Shy Galus card. And this dude,
word
this season, he's been killing it for OKC.
for sure.
Mhm.
So it's
He's only
only
been
gonna
in the
go
league for
up.
like 2 years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2-3 years now. 2-3 years.
yeah.
Interesting
His
fact. He's
cards
also
going for that
Canadian.
much.
So shout out to Shy if you're listening.
Yeah, bro. Shout out to Shy. His girl
Nah,
actually went to my college. Didn't see her there,
swear.
but yeah.
That's crazy. No, but I mean, you gotta also admit the money in trading cards is pretty insane, right? Like you
Yeah,
think about
nah,
that
Sure.
for
Shy
sure.
card
Do
a
you
couple years
see
ago.
yourself buying like these cards for that much or no? Like
Um,
20K, like 10K. Like we buy the wax, right? But at the end of the
yeah.
day, like a box costs up to like 150, 200 at most if you're buying the mega. And if you're using
Mhm.
that as like a form of investing, like it's not
Mhm.
that much, you know? Like I was talking to Devesh about it the other day. Like I bought some NBA Prism, right? What is it, 1920 or 2021?
No, 2021.
2021. Wait, what? Yeah.
2020 slash
Uh-huh.
2021.
Oh, 2020/2021. All right, yeah, yeah. I bought
Mhm.
those and like literally like as I was holding it, I'm like, yo, bro, this is like dead ass an Apple stock if you really think about it. Like the
Right.
price is like around there or not. Like it's like 130, right? Apple's like going around like hovering around that price.
Mhm.
And who knows, in like 5 months, like we're expecting this box to at least go up by like 40%. And
Mhm.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
we've been doing like the stock market thing for like about 2 years now or so, and I'm pretty sure Apple's not gonna do that many numbers. Like they recently announced like that Apple Tile thing, and I don't think it's gonna make that many sales to boost it up
Yeah,
like
bro.
40%, bro. I'm not seeing anything crazy. Like the M1 chip is cool, but you know, it's just like the name of the game.
Nah, for sure. Um,
I think the interesting thing about what you're saying with the Prism MBA is just affordability, right? Because
Right.
see, there's also that expensive wax. And when I think of investing in wax, my biggest thing is what percentage return can I get in what time frame?
Exactly.
I compare that to any other investment that I'm familiar with, whether it be stock market, bonds, real estate. But then on
Right.
top of that, I look at something like the affordability of it because you have to remember the card game, it isn't just rich people, right? It's people that they're joining, they want to have fun, they want to rip some product open, but they also don't want to break the bank. And
Right.
that's
right.
where our investments come into play because see we purchase something for let's say 100, it's worth 175 now. It's
Mm-hmm.
still affordable to that buyer, but to us it's $75 that we're pocketing, right? And that's sort of where
Mhm.
that alternative investing ties into trading cards is because we're able to have fun, like what we mentioned, opening cards. One pack turns into 10 packs. We see these shy cards, but at the same time, we're also able to make a lot of money, really great returns, and having fun at the same time. What do you think of that, John?
Nah, it's dope. I think it just really ties back to the supply and demand
Mhm.
because with stock market, there's always a market cap for sure, but that's not really where the supply is at. You know what I mean? The supply
Mhm.
is more into trading cards at the moment. So
Right.
if you were to maybe go back like a year or so,
Mm-hmm.
like you would not be charging the prices that you're charging now. You know what I mean?
100%,
Right, right.
100%.
The demand's just way
Hmm.
more. People
And
have more
then,
money to spend.
but I think like especially with now, I think it's just like kind of getting pumped out a lot, especially with like the NBA hoop stuff that you mentioned, and
I mean,
like
that's getting pumped down, bro. I don't know about you,
Yeah,
but
that
that
thing is
shit's
definitely
going
getting pumped
down.
down.
no, like they just pumped out so much that
Okay,
the
Oh,
okay.
yeah the
Yeah,
oh, you
no,
mean
you're
demand is getting
definitely
pumped.
right.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant. That's what I meant.
They milked that class, I'll be honest. The
Yeah.
2019, 2020 class was Zion and Ja. They
Hmm.
word?
definitely milked it. I mean, they saw a good opportunity, right? You see
Hmm.
a name that's been predominant since high school comes to the league, the next LeBron James. I mean, shit, bro. I'd even sell some of his stuff to make some money, right?
No, for sure.
Exactly, bro. I mean, like the whole card market's booming and all right, but I mean, if we're talking about cards, we're talking about basketball. I mean, we have to talk about Top Shot, right? Like, I mean,
100%.
Oh yeah,
Top
for
Shot
sure,
ties
for
into
sure.
like the whole NFT stuff, and like there was a lot of money to be made, but let's just say we know a few people that are underwater right now in some of their
Damn, bro.
Top Shot investing. I mean, I personally never even had a chance to get a pack. You know how I feel about these like queue systems, man. I'm not like one of our friends is usually like really lucky. He gets like
Yeah.
number one in line and everything, but I for one like I'll probably need to open up 10 tabs just to get like one like actual chance of getting it. And I know Devesh like he actually had like a chance to get some packs. So you want to speak on that, bro?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll personally say one thing I do regret is I didn't get into it earlier. I was a sort of like a hater in the beginning. And
Right.
the funny
Mhm.
thing is in the beginning is where those packs where there was no limit on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like still $9, but they were selling for a lot more. Like you could accumulate 20, 30 packs, which ended up
Right.
selling for like 400 plus. But when
Crazy,
I did
bro.
get into it, the second mistake I made was not having a lot of accounts. Just recently, Top Shot sort of put some restrictions in place, but at one point you could have all the accounts in the world, just verify it. I think via email.
It wasn't
Or
even
the,
phone number. Damn,
yeah,
that's
and then you had
crazy.
multiple accounts. I'll be honest, it was fun going for the packs when the market was hot. But right now I'm just happy that they approved my withdrawal request and my money's pulled out. I don't know about you,
Right.
John, but did you touch in Top Shot at all?
No, I never got into it. I'm more of like sit back and just kind of watch how things unfold type of
Ah,
person. You
Right. I
know?
mean, buying was low though, so like I would
Yeah.
have went for it either way if I were you. You know, like it was like what? How much was a pack, bro? I never got
Like
a per.
like
I
nine
never
nine
got the
dollars,
yeah,
purchase
nine
one.
$9 was probably the lowest. But
lowest, and then it went to like 99, and then I think like 4.99 to get
Damn.
higher. But
mhm,
I mean, you were almost guaranteed to make
Yeah.
profit. It
Wouldn't you
was
say it
for
was
just
like
sure,
a
for sure.
70% chance, right, to make profit?
wait, see that one more time?
Wouldn't you say like if you were to open up a pack back in I guess like what 2 months ago, right? Like if you were to
Bro,
open up any
2 months
pack,
ago, I'm
you
saying
could
it's
have
a
made like
100% chance you could have made
a hundred
profit.
percent chance.
The
That's
$9 packs, the lowest moment was going for like at the time $80 to $100,
what?
and you get 3 moments per pack on the
Damn,
base
bro.
pack. And I shit you not, everything was 100% profitable.
Yeah,
That's why you saw so many people
Damn.
throwing money into Top Shot, right? It was like an
yeah.
overnight get rich kind of thing.
Hmm.
But now the market's kind of slowed down a little bit, and I'm seeing a lot of people getting really happy about being able to withdraw, which
Yeah.
isn't really a good sign, right? I mean,
But
what does that kind of tell us?
fam,
Uh,
all right,
yeah.
Herschel, tell
What's
me
up?
this though. Would wouldn't you say it's easy to like copyright like just these top shots, especially like with the NBA like clips and everything that you get from these packs? Like I
Uh,
know there's a lot of skepticism about it, but
like copyright. I mean, it's owned by the NBA, bro. So it's
yeah, but
like,
okay. Or
or
like
do
what
you
I
mean
mean,
just like find the images online and then
yeah, like
just leave
all
them
the fakes and
locally?
stuff. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, right? Like you can all these clips are available online on YouTube somewhere, right? Like people
Right.
are even using them for like their own like you ever see those mixes that people do? Like with like some like song at the background and they're just like showing like the best highlights, right? Like I'm sure like some of
Yeah.
those clips are used there, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, right? I guess like this whole NFT craze and Top Shot, it's about like it's just about like I have it and you don't, right? Like I have number one out of 2000 LeBron dunking on someone.
Mhm.
It's like that's all it
No,
is, and
that's fair.
like you can prove that you have it just on your account.
Mhm.
Like sure, there really really isn't that much to it, but I mean the same thing can be said about the cards that we have, right? Like they're literally just paper at the end of the day.
Yeah,
they
no,
don't
No, that's
really
100%.
facts.
they don't really mean much. Even like with the
Mhm.
signature, right? It's just a piece of paper and it depends on like how much you like value it, right? Like the same thing with like sneakers, like Yeezys, for example, used to be hot and everyone wanted it because like literally everyone just loved Kanye, right?
Yeah.
And now look at where they are. And it's just
Right.
like perception at the end of the day, like what's hot, what's limited.
Not for
So
Yeah,
sure.
no, I think it's interesting because you were talking about how what it means to that person, and I
right.
would say like during the Top Shot hype, for a lot of people, what it meant was buying it to sell it at a higher price to someone else.
You think so?
Mhm.
Like
I really think that's the case. I mean, just looking at the micro of it and sort of being in these Discord groups, of the population, like it felt like almost nobody was really a collector. I'm sure there was a lot of collectors, but they just weren't as predominant as the resellers were because I remember this being very talked about on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I remember in some of my card groups actually, it's actually really interesting. I would see a lot of people sell their rookie LeBrons, their rookie Kobe's, and then even their wax to
Yeah.
take that money and put it in the Top Shot because they thought one, it was a future, which who knows, it might be, but right now it's not. That's not the case. And
Right.
two, they were getting better returns, and people were just flaunting the thousands upon tens of thousands of dollars they were making.
Right.
And you had this sort of switch where even sneaker resellers wanted to get into Top Shot
Yeah.
because the flipping was there. But like anything, supply and demand, as the price rises, for every price increase, there has to be someone else willing to pay that price increase. And I think
Right.
that took a big dip when Top Shot sort of became more controlling with the marketplace. Um, Nowadays, you have to own like I'm not even too sure on the requirements because it's always changing. But it used to be
Yeah.
like you'd have to own a moment for 7 days to transfer it. And think about this: when you own a card, I could just meet you that same day, or you could
Right.
ship it out express and I get it next day. There's no
Right.
restriction that says, okay, Harshal bought the card, now he has to sit on it for 7 days before Devesh can buy it. Because I mean, in
True.
7 days, a lot of things can change, right? You get
Price, all
a
that.
player injury, the player starts playing poorly, and you got to think like with these sports cards, it's really fixated on how well that player plays. And in 7 days, you have maybe 2, 3 games. They do bad, the price could come down a few hundred, right? What do you guys think
Mhm.
about all the restrictions that Top Shot put into place?
I personally, for one, think it's just to combat bots. Like if I had like a time machine or could go back in time at the start of Top Shot, I probably would have made like 80, 100 counts. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
manually, but like, and then just open it up because, like you're saying, 80% to like, you even said damn near 100% chance you could make money. Like
yeah.
with the $9 buy-in, that's like a no-brainer, right? Like
Oh,
you could literally,
100%.
and I mean, I probably might have held some, right? Like, I probably wouldn't have sold all the moments, but the thing is, like, I'm not really attached to like this whole Top Shot thing. Maybe if I had like a Kyrie or James Harden card, like I keep it, right? Or like a moment
Yeah.
rather. But like, I'm not too in love with basketball at the moment, where like I would be a collector. So I definitely would have sold it just like everyone else. I mean, I feel
Mhm.
bad for these collectors because like if they bought in at the hype, they're gonna probably be down like a couple thousand. But I mean, at the end of the day, if they thought that card was once worth like 1,000, like that perception probably shouldn't change.
Mhm.
And speaking of worth, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about NFTs and Nifty Gateway
Yeah.
Mhm.
Marketplace.
hmm
Is a lot of that art you've seen? Do you think it's really worth the prices it's selling for? I mean, shit. I
Uh,
think there's this one guy who had a beeple, that goes for like $400,000 or $500,000. Do you guys think
yeah.
it's worth $400,000 or $500,000 for this digital
Uh,
art?
I've never heard of
Honestly,
people this before. Before
as
then.
all right, here's my opinion. As like a creator of art, I think it's definitely a good time to try to get into NFTs, or if you're already doing it, that's great.
Right.
But I think because I mean, there's always going to be consumers of things. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah,
Mhm.
Like
to some degree, yeah.
to
I
some
mean,
degree, right? Like especially with if it's not digital art, it was art before, people buying Picasso paintings, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Holding it, and
yeah,
it's obviously going to go in value over time.
right,
But I think for like NFT wise, you have to have a name, or like your art has to be killing it,
right,
for
exactly.
it
Like,
to just take off and be at these absurd prices.
right. Do you see yourself making a NFT like one day?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, right?
Yeah,
But
it's already digital, right? For the most part,
yeah,
like every.
exactly. Everything is all digital. It's everything. That's the way that life is moving. But for me, when I just do graphic design and everything, I like physical products and I like making product design in general. So if I figure out a way to incorporate those two, then I'll definitely try to make one. But
Mhm.
at the moment, it's just not really at my peak interest, you know?
Yeah, some of them do look cool. Like definitely, like if like another artist, like like the hype artist, like Cause, Murakami, etc.
Mhm.
Right? If they
Yeah.
started doing, like NFTs, I'm sure like I'm sure they would sell. I'm not too sure like at the degree of like which they'll sell, just because
Mhm.
like art in general, right? Like like the few pieces like art pieces that I did get were like mostly like figures and sculptures, right? And like after like they released, they moved pretty slow, if I'm not mistaken, and
Yeah, it's
it's
almost
all
like
art goods,
what's
to
that
be
term
honest.
called? When you're in love with something right away and then it dips off. Something
I know
like
what you're talking about. It's like yeah, it's on like the top of my tongue. I forget what it's called exactly,
yeah, no,
but
but you're definitely right. I feel like that's the case, and I've seen it too. Like even some of the NFTs that I've been watching, I'll be honest, I'm not looking at all of them or as
mhm,
much as I could be. I'll see that like in the first hour post release,
right,
Mhm.
definitely
it'll
so.
yeah, and then just after that, it just like dips because it's like people kind of move on to the next big art.
Exactly. They're
Right.
producing so many, right? Like almost, I don't know how many drops a day, but I would have to ask my NFT provider for that, our in-house expert. We might have him on the podcast one day, but like they drop so many, it's like it's hard to like keep up. Like I think that's why I like artists that try to release like limited things, right? Because they try to do quality over quantity, and
Nah, for sure.
like
It's
you could
funny
tell.
because like speaking of quantity over quality, I saw like this one guy create a Twitter account and then
Mm-hmm.
just sort of list his first NFT with like one follower,
Uh-huh.
and people were like bidding on it, and it's kind of like you got to think about the barrier to entry in this, right? If
Yeah.
everyone's just able to make art, similar to like trading cards, right? If anyone was able to make trading cards, and we didn't have like Panini sort of that like Panini versus Tops and all of that stuff, where there's sort of a few market creators. Don't you
Yeah.
think the market's going to become a little bit too saturated, or it's just sort of too easy to get into?
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, you have a good point. Like the thing about me is like you guys know that NFTs like been a thing, right? For a while. Like crypto kitties was a thing.
Hmm.
And like I didn't really take off like too much, right? Like there's some rare NFTs in that space that you can get, but like NFTs is nothing new. But I
Mhm.
just feel like this is just like a sharp spike in it to really get to like the mainstream because like back when crypto kitties started, like back then, like even before like I think the 2017 crypto bull market, which is just
Hmm.
like
Mhm.
a whole nother topic. That's like I was in college back then. I only knew like a little bit about crypto, definitely not as much as I know now. And I feel like even like as we just move like forward, more and more people are getting into it, right?
Hmm.
And I think that kind of helped like foster back like the sense of like what NFTs are and like reintroduce it to everyone as a whole rather than just like
Mhm.
the people that knew it back then.
Mhm.
Hmm. And,
Uh,
and and John, let me ask you,
what's up?
as an artist, do you see the longevity in NFTs?
Mm, yes and no.
Mhm.
Um, like Herschel said, everything is at an all-time spike, in my opinion,
Yeah.
especially for like mainstream. I
Right.
think there will be a big correction that will turn off a lot of people. Like, like say they already have that NFT and then it just loses a bunch of money. That's gonna
Uh-huh.
turn them off from doing that for a bit. But I think it'll gradually come back up to play as more things come out, such as like artists started making NFTs, like using their music, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
I've
more
seen that.
things come out. Yeah. Um, but I just think it's just all over the place because you have people just trying to like dip their hands into getting the money. It's more like buying and selling rather than actual consumers taking
Right.
it.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool that everything is like on the like open on the market though, right? Like you can see exactly like who bought it, who sold it.
Mhm.
And I actually like that openness. I don't know about you guys, but it kind of gives you a sense on like where the market's going for NFTs
Mhm.
and all that information's public. Like sure, like you can argue that like a lot of the art stuff is public on like StockX, but like StockX doesn't even have that many artists first of all. And
Mhm.
I guess like the most buying and selling is done on eBay, right? and no one really wants to look through all those eBay listings. But with NFTs, you kind of have like a one-stop shop. If it's on like a centralized exchange, like Nifty Gateway. I mean, there's decentralized NFTs too,
Yeah.
but those are a little more obscure, I guess. Like I think like where the hype's at is at where Nifty's at the moment. I don't know about you guys.
And because we're
Yeah.
talking about alternative investing, like trading cards and NFT and Top Shot, like what kind of checklist do you guys have when you're putting some money in this, whether it's a short
Um,
term flip or even
okay.
long term flip?
I mean, for
Mhm.
me, number one, go to my NFT provider, in-house expert. I ask him about all my questions.
Mhm.
Number two, go to Devesh for card information. See
Okay,
what's see
okay.
what's up with him, because it's not really my expertise. Like I like staying like in my field of like what I know, right? Like what do I
Yeah.
know about like basketball cards, right? And then number three, I guess, is like the sales data at the end of the day, like that
Mhm.
determines everything, right? Like if you
Yeah.
see like verse like okay, if you go on eBay, go to sold listings, you just see one listing every like 4 days. That's not a liquid product, bro. You're not gonna want to buy that
Mhm.
because once you accumulate that product, you're just not gonna be able to sell it as fast as you want, right? Versus something that's been selling hot, once the supply dries up, prices are just gonna go up.
Mhm.
And I
Definitely.
guess like that's what I'm looking for more or less. I guess my like advice, or not really advice, but like what I'm looking at right now is just the NBA Prism, and
Yeah.
everything else I'm looking at vintage Pokemon too. Those are like two things I'm looking forward to investing in and seeing grow. And hopefully after I get rid of a lot of these cards, I want to start getting into watches because
Yeah.
watches hold
Okay.
value and is a great way to network in my opinion.
And what kind of
Mhm.
like percentage ROI are you looking for? Like what's that
Um
sweet spot for you where you really
uh
feel like your money's been
yeah,
put to good
yeah,
work?
that's a great question. I feel like as soon as you hit 50%, you should cut some of your product already, just so you aren't risking that much, you know what I mean? Going into the
Mhm.
future. And ideally, I'm looking for at least 1x, cuz
Okay.
like these investments at the end of the day, they're assets, right? So they're going up, and sure, like for me, like I don't mind being cash poor and just have like some delayed gratification with like money in general, just because at the moment, with the whole COVID thing going on, you don't really have to spend too much money. I mean, sure, everything's opening up now, right? So that might change, but for the most part, like I'm cool with just having money, like the bare minimum that I need to, spend on my expenses, and then investing everything else because I'm just in that position to do so. And in the future I might not be, so it's good right now. And at the end of the day, all the money is being saved up in one way or another. Like the NBA hoops, sure, I lost a little money on it,
Mhm.
but I did recoup most of my capital, right? And who's to say I probably wouldn't have spent that money on something stupid like clothes, food, etc. So I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, it all evens out.
And then Jonathan, what would you say your sort of guideline or rubric is for putting some of
Uh,
your money in this stuff?
I'm on a tight budget just because I'm still in college and stuff.
Mhm.
So I generally I'm willing to put up the money, but I have to be comfortable with losing that money. That
Right.
should
That's
I,
all investments, so.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel like that should always be a good rule. But usually like investment, I try to look between 20 to 30%. And then if I truly believe in that product, I'll try to hold it until it 1x.
Yeah, I mean, 1x
Um,
is what everyone looks for. It's crazy.
exactly, exactly.
And
Um, but whenever especially like with crypto, I've been trying to get into more crypto, especially with like this big boom and everything. I would usually go to Herschel to talk about it, and then my other boy Jonathan to talk about it.
Mhm.
so you look in the
Uh,
mirror?
nah, nah, my other homie.
Oh,
But
okay.
because I don't know, because crypto and stocks are two different games for sure. So usually with
Right.
stocks, like whenever I'm doing like option plays and stuff, I usually look for a 20 to 30% profit. And
Right.
then anything after that is obviously great. But if I know I can hit that, then I'm happy, you know?
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Hmm.
No,
And
and I mean
then,
that's
oh,
and like I just want to ask you like
mhm.
that you're because you said you're a student on a tight budget.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that affects your ability to act on opportunities? Like when you see opportunities come across your table or whatever it is, you see it on social media. Do you sort of like kick yourself in the foot for it, or do you just sort of realize that the time is going to come eventually?
Um, I feel like you can't get FOMO for sure.
Mm,
FOMO is a big thing that diminishes like your mindset for sure. Um, because I like to go off of things I truly believe in. So if it's things that are getting pumped and everybody's talking about it, like I usually get turned off from that. Because
Mhm.
if you think about it, the market is so big. You
yeah,
can
Right.
obviously find something else that's doing, if not doing the same or better, And no,
yeah.
there's probably nobody talking about that.
It's like that. It's like that quote: when social media or TikTokers get a hold of it, it's probably
Mhm.
too late by then to act on it, right?
For sure, for
Uh,
Because
sure.
the masses are sort of getting in it, and I mean,
yeah.
it's
I
questionable. I
mean,
mean, there's both sides of the conversation, right? Like, there's a little bit of
yeah.
a pump there that you could jump in on,
Mhm,
but I
Right.
mean, shit, look at GameStop, right, and how that turned out.
Yeah,
mhm,
like that was actually a great opportunity provided by social media. I mean,
Hmm.
same thing can be said about Dogecoin. Like, thing
mhm,
is, like once you know like how many or like who holds like what position, right? If it's like big banks and like basically like institutions that are holding these like assets, then you're gonna lose no matter what, right? But at the end of the
mhm.
day, like if you get in, like you time it right, you're in GameStop, you're in Dogecoin, you definitely could have made a lot of money. But at the
For
end of the
sure.
day, you definitely need like what's called conviction, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be like sleeping and thinking about, oh, what price is Doge at right now, right?
Mhm,
Like
Hmm.
that's like the worst thing to feel. You want to be safe, and like you could go to sleep. Like for me, like all my investments, I could go to sleep and I don't even have to look at my phone, right? I look at my phone every now and then to see what's up with it, but I just follow the news, and I feel like that's
exactly.
like one of the most important parts when you're investing in anything. Like we can go to sleep with like our NBA Prism, right? Where when we're holding it, like as long as we don't like get like a message on Twitter, Discord, whatever, saying there's like another print run coming,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
fine.
yeah. No,
So what about
honestly.
you? What about you, Devesh? What's your checklist?
Honestly, my checklist is it's very simple, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very effective to me personally. I like things where one, I understand them, I understand the inside and out as much as I possibly can.
Right.
I
Mhm,
don't really like too much of that foreign investing where it's like I'm blindsided by what could be.
Yeah, like
So even
Forex, right?
exactly right, like forex or even crypto is a little bit of a gray spot for me where I kind of understand it a bit, but I use some of like your guidance, for example, to really
I'm not
understand
your
it.
financial advisor, bro. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, honestly. Um, but I like to do things where one, the market itself is trending, right?
Yeah,
Like you mentioned, the sold data. That's a good one, right? You don't want something that sells once every month
exactly.
or whatever it is, once every 2 weeks kind of thing. You want a little bit more liquidity, a little bit more interest in the market. Two, it has to be proven, right? Like it has to be proven in the sense that it's withstand the sort of withstand time, and it's been proven like as an asset class or like as a flip or an investment, whatever it may be. And then I always look at the alternative investing side of things like I would a stock. Like I treat it very specifically in the sense of, okay, what's my entry price? What's my exit price? Exit price as in my target price, and what's my stop loss? Like even for these trading card boxes that you and I are investing in, the NBA Prism, I have a buy price, the price I want to get into,
Hmm.
why it makes the most sense, what variables support it. I have a target price. Why do I want to reach that price? What do I have to support it? But I also have a stop loss in the sense of, let's say the market starts to trend downwards, like we saw with Hoops Premium.
mhm,
That's my signal to sell it off, take the loss, accept it, and move on without sort of getting tied or, as they say, married to the inventory, right?
Right.
And I
mhm.
have to admit, the one good thing that we have or that we're fortunate about is that we're lucky in the sense that we're young, so we can take these risks.
Right.
It's like I sometimes talk to my parents about it, and it's like how we're so lucky to be in this generation or this era where you can make money from your computer, from your phone, from your laptop. You can make a full time living off of it. And because we're young, we sort of have that time to take these greater risks. Like even for myself, when I'm investing in some of this card product, I do think to myself like, okay, what at the end of the day, this is just cardboard. It's only
Mhm.
worth as much as someone else is willing to pay for it. And
Mhm.
let's say there's a recession tomorrow. Damn no well no one's gonna go buy cards when you can barely afford rent, right? Like when
Exactly.
COVID first happened, it wasn't until sort of after COVID stabilized a little bit that people got into cards because people's first thoughts were, okay, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my food? What do I do? Like my income is not the same anymore.
Mhm.
So you got to think like in the set. You have to be realistic with yourself, right? Like any investment, there's always a chance of zero, but that's where you protect yourself by setting these sort of specific price targets. And then lastly, it's something that I'm willing to live with, right? When I'm making that decision, like I told you about Hoops Premium, it didn't go as well as we expected, but I can live with it because I did the research, but I also exited when I had that exit price in mind, right? And like any sort of investor, no one's going to be right 100% of the time. But in my opinion, it's very important that when you're wrong, you're able to accept it and cut that position rather than just hold on and say, okay, I want to be right. Because see, we took that loss of Hoops Premium,
Right.
but
Yeah.
now that we're transferring that money into NBA Prism, like I said, if NBA Prism doesn't rise in 3 to 5 months, I can
Mhm.
guarantee you that's a really bad sign for the card market. And I can tell just from that the card market is going to be sort of in a recession or a downturn because that's literally the like you were mentioning, it's the Apple of the market, right? And
Right.
Apple is what we call a blue chip stock. I mean, almost any investment advisor will categorize like Apple with like what Microsoft and Google, so those
Exactly.
companies that are like nothing can take Apple down. I mean shit. Even during COVID, people are still buying $1,000 iPhones, right?
Exactly. It's
Um,
just ingrained
so
in our society.
exactly
So
right.
I have a question. I have a question. So
What's up?
it's not necessarily like on those topics per se, but what would you say is like your biggest loss in terms of just alternative investing? Like
Um.
where you feel like you're just kicking yourself over it because of
Oh, I
like
can.
the knowledge you have now, you're kicking yourself over it.
Oh,
You know
I
what I
can
mean?
say mine, bro. That's fucking easy. I don't even know how much money I lost in this shit, bro. But Topps Project 2020. I know nothing about baseball. Oh, I did know a few of the artists that did make like the like collab with like the cards, but bro, like that's just down bad. It's just like sitting in a box, bro, in my
Yeah.
closet. Like I low key want to throw it out, but like, what if one day it's like worth like a little like something, you know, like get
what
like a
does it go
McDonald's meal
for?
out of it.
What does it go for now?
Bro, I'll probably be able to sell like all the cards I have. I probably spent like maybe like 2K or something like that. I could probably sell them for like maybe like a McDonald's meal.
Dang, for real?
Bro, just no one wants them, and I don't know. I
Is
thought
it is
baseball
it
was big, but who knows?
is it like that Laker box or whatever that I see on like Instagram all the time?
What do you
You know
mean?
what
No,
I'm
I'm
like?
not too sure what you're talking about.
There's like an NBA Prism Laker box team.
Oh, the team boxes, yeah. I
Yeah, the
mean,
team
but
box.
the thing is, everyone knows that that shit was trash. At least with like
That's true.
tops, like people like did like they low key thought it was gonna be good. Like I don't know what to say. Like
Yeah, but there's people that were still buying it though. That's the thing,
yeah,
thinking
but
that it would flip.
yeah, exactly. I was an investor and that shit. I don't know anyone that's talking about Project 2020. Maybe in the year 2025 will be worth something, but you know, just fucking diamond hinting it, bro, holding it forever.
Nah, I feel that. What about you, Devish?
Biggest loss has to be let me think. It's probably gotta be Hoops Premium. I mean, it was
With
only
premium?
yeah, it was only like a 1K, probably 1.2K loss, maybe less, maybe more, give or take.
Right.
But that's what it comes down to when I always say like we're very fortunate in the sense that the whole alternative investing space, like I personally see it as like a low downside. If you do the right things,
For sure.
and you go upon those checklists that we choose, you can sort of limit that risk. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, for the most part, I'd like to call myself like a trend reseller or a seasonal reseller where whatever's in,
A
I'm
pool
selling it.
flipper.
Yeah, exactly. Like Top Shot was in, sold that. Cards are in, continue to be in, selling that. Graphics cards are in. Should just sold some of that today. Should I even
Right.
sold
For
a pool
sure.
today? Uh,
That's dope.
but I mean, that would have to be my biggest loss. But at the same time, it also taught me an important lesson, right?
Hmm.
So like a 1K loss to learn a lesson that cost others like thousands upon thousands.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'll take it. I mean, you can't always be right, but it is very important to sort of accept that loss and move on. Like even with that product that we're shifting into, like I'm very confident in it, right? I'm putting in a lot of my own money just to prove how confident I am in it.
Right.
And that only came to be because I was able to part ways with Hoops Premium.
Right. Not for
And
sure.
yeah, I mean, I think this was a great episode. Definitely ran a bit longer than expected, but I thought it was great. There was a bunch of knowledge. I hope you guys took something out of it. And I would love if you guys could drop in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, like what is your top alternative investment for this coming year, if you're into that, or like any like hobby that you're into that is somewhat profitable and fun for you, like could be watches, cards,
Yeah,
comic
I think
books,
I think we'll even
etc.
bring the most interesting comment on the podcast one day and just sort of hear their thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
for
could
sure.
definitely talk about it.
Future topics. What do we got for next week? I think next week we got
Uh,
crypto.
yeah, next week we have one of my boys, or all of our boys actually, like just our boy Be Fresh. He's a crypto content creator. We met him through Discord. I met him in person a few times. Definitely a pretty cool guy. He's been in the crypto space for who knows how long. He has his own YouTube channel. He streams a lot. Overall, just a cool guy. We'll definitely have like a good talk with him next week. And the week after that, just stay in tune. We have some big things coming for sure.
Sounds good. I appreciate to those who listen. Like Harsha said, leave your comment down below in the comment section. And we'll look forward to having you back on next week's episode. And we always say if you learn something, the least we ask is tell a friend, share with a friend or a family, get them to listen to the podcast, and hopefully we can grow this community faster than any of us really expected to.